How you doing? My name is Staff Sergeant Miller, and I'm with the Illinois Army National Guard. And the purpose of this presentation is to give you guys a better understanding on the differences between the Army National Guard, the Army Reserves, and the regular Army. Here in this presentation, I want to discuss the three Army components. I want to let you guys know about some of our locations in the area. I'm going to go over some of the Army National Guard benefits. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the Recruit Sustainment Program. Now, here's a picture of a soldier, Sergeant Terry. You can't tell what branch of service she's a part of just by looking at her. It says U.S. Army across the chest, so should you automatically assume that she's a regular Army soldier? No. The Army National Guard, Army Reserves, and the regular Army wear the exact same uniform. You really can't tell the difference. Okay? So if you see one of us walking down the street, the best thing to do is ask us, because you shouldn't assume that you're looking at an active duty soldier, because they may very well be a National Guardsman. The Army is broken up into three different components. You have the United States Army, which we always call the regular Army, the Army Reserve, and the Army National Guard. The regular Army's mission is to go to basic training for 10 weeks. In basic training, you're going to learn your basic combative skills. This is where you're going to learn your soldiering skills, how to be a soldier. Okay? In AIT is where you're going to learn your job. That's why we call it job school. Okay? Whatever job you chose when you came into the military will be the job you learn how to do in AIT school. Once a regular Army soldier completes basic training in AIT, they're going to serve on active duty. What do I mean by active duty? Active duty is when they're stationed on an active military post for so many years, 2, 3, 4 years, depending on what their terms are. Their 9 to 5 is being a soldier, and they travel all around the world to do various missions. Okay? The regular Army is governed by the federal government, so they can get called up by the President of the United States to go on various different missions. This is the cycle of a regular Army troop. Now, moving to an Army Reserve soldier, they're called the Army Reserves because they're a reserve component for the Army. They will go to basic training for 10 weeks. They'll go to AIT as well. They train exactly the same as the Army. They train together. But they're soldiers on standby. That's their job. Their job is to support the regular Army in their missions. So they'll come home, serve 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summertime, and if the regular Army needs these soldiers, they can come and pick and pull from their pile. What will happen to that reserve soldier is he or she'll go from a part-time status to a full-time status for however long that activation or deployment is for. Once that deployment is done, then they go right back down to being a part-time status, serving 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summertime. Okay? This is the cycle of an Army Reserve soldier. And they're governed by the federal government too, which is very important to understand, and I'll explain that in my next slide. Here we have the Army National Guard. Okay? As you can see, we go to basic training for 10 weeks. We go to AIT as well. We all train exactly the same. We all train together. There is no difference in our training. There's a misconception that because we're part-time, we do part training. It's not. We all go on the same active duty and do the same type of training. The only difference is once we graduate, we all go to 3 different places. Okay? So the National Guard soldier will come home as well, and he or she'll serve 1 week in a month and 2 weeks in the summertime. Now, our mission is different from the regular Army's mission, and that's what I'm about to explain. Our first mission is a stateside mission. We respond to riots, floods, or any natural disasters. So what am I talking about? Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Sandy, and one that we'll never forget is when the Twin Towers came down on 9/11. Okay, these are the things that the Army National Guard comes out for. The last stateside activation that the Illinois Army National Guard came out for was the NATO summit in 2012. This is when all the dignitaries around the world came to Chicago to have their meeting. The Army National Guard was out there supporting the Chicago Police Force, and the Fire Department. Anything that they couldn't handle. So, along with having a stateside mission, we have a federal mission as well. We support the regular Army and their various missions also. They can come and pick and pull from our pile. We'll go from a part-time status to a full-time status for the duration of that deployment, and then we'll go back down to a part-time status once it's over. So we can get activated, deployed, just like the Army Reserves. The only difference is we have two missions. We have to protect the state as well as help protect the rest of the country. Okay? Now, it's because of that is that we have various locations all around, not just all around the world, but in Illinois alone. As you can see from my map on the right, I'm showing every city that has a National Guard army. And some of these have multiple armies in that city. Like for Chicago. On the left side, you're looking at all of the different armies and where they're located, just in the Chicago area alone. Humboldt Park, Midway Airport, downtown Chicago. We have a location in Fort Sheridan, Hyde Park, in the south suburbs in Robbins, Illinois, and even out west in Riverside. So in the Chicago area alone, we have a lot of locations. We have a lot of locations because we're here to support our community. We're here to also support our country. We keep 10,000 troops at all times in Illinois. So this is why you'll see more National Guard armories versus Reserve armories. If something happens in the state of Illinois, it has absolutely nothing to do with the Army Reserves. They won't come out. They don't support. They're not supposed to support. They support the regular Army. The Army National Guards handles all stateside activity. Here are some of the benefits you'll get coming into the Army National Guard. You'll get a scholarship to any stateside school in Illinois. What do I mean by public stateside school? I'm talking about public. Any public institution. Illinois State, Chicago State, UIC, Governor State University, any junior college is public. As long as it's a public school, you're guaranteed a 4-year scholarship coming from the National Guard. Now, we don't cover private schools. Private schools are your DePauls, your DeVrys, Roosevelt. You can use the federal tuition assistance, which will give you $4,500 a year towards a private school. Now, no matter what school you're going to, if you're going full-time, you'll receive the Montgomery GI Bill. The Montgomery GI Bill is a stipend of money that the Guard gives you while you're serving full-time at school. So if you're going to school for full-time, you can expect to get around $360. If you're going half-time, if you're taking about 6 to 8 hours, then that's half-time. You'll get half of that, so on and so forth. Okay, so the Montgomery GI Bill goes to the soldier. The National Guard grant, the federal tuition assistance goes towards the institution. Now, for selective soldiers that join the Army National Guard, you could qualify for the student loan repayment program. The best way to see if you qualify is to contact your local recruiter to find out, because there are different stipulations for the student loan repayment program. One of the stipulations is you have to have student loans to get the student loan repayment. So contact your local recruiter, and he'll be able to explain to you all of the qualifications to receive the student loan repayment program. Now, the Army National Guard has something real special, something that no other branch has, and it's the RSP program. This is the best thing that a soldier can have right after they join and before they go to training. We give our soldiers a boot camp environment for the weekend. I'll give you an example. Say you join the Army National Guard in January, but you don't ship off to training until June. From January to June, each month you are to report to one of our National Guard armories and participate in the RSP program. You'll get paid for the drill because it will be your drill. It's considered your drill, so you will get paid for it. In the RSP program, it's our job to get you physically and mentally prepared for basic training. Here's some of the activities that you'll see that we'll have. This is actually an Olympic activity that we had in the summertime with another RSP program. We kind of combined our RSPs together, broke them out to teams, and gave them team building exercise and team events to exercise teamwork, and they will get rewarded for their efforts. Here is pugil stick fighting. This is something you'll do in basic training, So you'll get a taste of what it's like prior to even getting there. We'll also teach you military structure, military formations, military movements. All of the cool stuff that you'll learn in basic training, you'll actually learn those things prior to getting there. And if you're high speed, you'll get rewarded for your actions. Here's an actual photo of my first sergeant passing out rewards to some of our soldiers that participated in the RSP Olympics this past summer. So you're rewarded for your actions. Like I said before, this is one of the best programs that we have that no other branch of service has. If you go to the regular Army, if you go to the Army Reserve, you will not have this program. Once you join, you'll just wait to get this experience until you get the basic training. But if you join the Army National Guard, you'll get this experience prior to joining. And that's the coolest thing about our program. We teach our soldiers what they need to know prior to getting there so they can be successful. We prepare them for success. It's because of this program that we have more honor graduates, high PT scores, and our soldiers are just more well prepared. Great program. Here's my office location. 5917 Broadway Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. I'm right off of Lakeshore Drive, near Rogers Park. The town I'm actually in is Edgewater. Now, this is not a traditional National Guard armory. You will not see soldiers coming in and out of this armory. In 1999, it was purchased by the Park District. So the only soldiers you'll see is myself and a few of my counterparts. But we are a National Guard. We are National Guard recruiters. This is where we recruit, and we are active recruiters in the local community. So if you're looking to join the Guard, or if you want some more information, here's my information right here, my email and my phone number. I'll be happy to assist you in your recruiting process. Again, I would like to thank you for sitting down with me and learning the differences between the Army National Guard, the regular Army, and the Army Reserve. Hopefully, I did a good job in letting you know the differences between the three. So when you're ready to join, you'll know exactly what you're doing, what you're getting into, and the difference. Thank you. Have a good day.